Salam lakul kamu.
Assalamualaikum kamu.
Pahami. So today I have prepared something for our sister uncle. Yes, that I had you in my mind. The first, the prelude of the the lecture is gonna be something you asked me before, so we're gonna address that. But the main lecture will be finding the soul of the race in sincerity. Finding the soul of the race in sincerity. All right, that will be the title for today's lecture. So I know, sister, you asked me what this picture I have it about. I told you that we will go into it, and today we're just gonna go briefly. And the picture you see was a revelation. Our holy Fahami Rasul, salam be upon him, he was the one who received this revelation in 1920. And it was not published till 1938, but the revelation came to him in 1920, where what the real Africa is, and our geographical foundation as the race. Okay? And I think I posted, our holy Fahami Rasul was receiving revelations and messages ever since he was a young man. He was young, but he could not make sense out of it till 1919, when everything, in 1925, when he still began his mission. So when this revelation came in 1920, but it was not published in 1938, and on the culture, he called it the culture lesson number 1, as it was published in 1938. Holy Fahami Rasul say geography revealed. Okay, and he said every people has its zone around the earth, the foundation of their own origins or beginnings. The zones are 7, with 7 temperament of people. The torrid zone, south torrid, north torrid, temperate zone south, temperate zone north, north frozen zone, south frozen zone. Praise God. Fahami means culture or understanding. Also Negro geography. All right. Then he said the geographical foundation and creative beginnings of all mankind is the torrid zone, the equator, that builds the earth. They are the fathers of all mankind, and all men are brothers. So, in this drawing, this is where the Holy Fahami said our geographical foundation around the planet, okay? Around the planet. And the torrid zone is here where the equator is, where the outpouring of the solar intelligence is the highest. This is the hottest places, the warmest places on the planet, from 23.5 degree tropical of Cancer and south tropical of Capricorn, and this around the planet. I'm talking about South America, India, I'm talking about Australia, all of the islands where this was our geographical foundation. And the Most High God gave us the melanin for us to thrive in this hot weather, where some of it is 120 degrees, 110 degrees, or even hotter, some areas. So we were given, the Holy Fahami say, evolution gave us that melanin so we can thrive in this area, the hottest area of the planet. And we were thriving, and we ruled this area for 50,000 years. And those are all of the ocean, the beaches, and everything was there. So we were swimming in the water. This was our paradise in a way, And this was one of his revelation. In 1920, he gave up with saying, this is it. This is the real Ethiopia. Ethiopia is not this little country, but the entire torrid zone around the planet was called Ethiopia.
Hamdu.
Then the other thing he gave us was he said there are 7 temperaments. The 7 temperaments. So he called this the torrid zone, which is the equator, north torrid, south torrid right here. Then the temperate zone south, the temperate zone north, the frozen zone north, the frozen zone south. Those 7 temperaments, 7 temperature that affect our people around, the people that live in this area are affected by the temperature of the geographical foundation where they are located. Okay? So he said this is our geographical foundation, and our noble ancestor, from this they went south and north and populated the entire planet.
Hamdu.
Okay? So these are the 7. I know High Sheikh even gave lecture last week where he talked about the 7 earths. Alright, the 7 earths. But that number 7, again, is the 7 principles of the soul. That number 7, it goes the 7 days of the week, the 7 planets. Those things are very important. But this is another revelation of the Holy Fahami about the 7 temperament of people. He said all people are temperamental. Alright? All nations are geographical. Alright? The people that dress in the frozen zone is different than the people that dress in the torrid zone. The way they build their houses is different than the way the hot people we build in Africa. Alright? How we build houses is different. The food we eat is different. They have to eat a lot of meat and a lot of things. Here, no. Alright? So, Sister Ankuli, this is the message just briefly, but we can go deep into it in the future also. But this gave us those 7 temperate zones. Right? Then the Holy Fahmi Rasul said the real Africa revealed, the original Africa or Ethiopia comprised every land, ocean, river, lake under the equator within the tropics, Australia in the east, the Amazons in Brazil, the Sudras in India, South America. Every island of the tropics was Ethiopia. Ancient Salam or Islam unveiled the real Ethiopia. Okay, so with that, this is the real Ethiopia around the Torah belt. Here is the real Africa, or we say around the planet, within the tropics, is the real Ethiopia. Okay, so with that, this was just one of his revelation in 1920. I know if you have more questions, we will go into it deeper. Okay, all right. Then in the Catechism lesson, our Holy Fahami Ibra Rasul, salam be upon him, he said, what is Fahami? It is understanding. And it's also the name of the new Negro culture or Kemite culture, founded on the background of our ancestor worship, our due reverence for our noble ancestors, ancient and divine, whose wisdom graced the lands of Egypt, Ethiopia, Chaldea, Arabia, Canaan, the entire Torrid zone. So he put that again, the entire Torrid zone, the Torrid belt of the mystic name of Ethiopia. So even that name, when we say we are Ethiopians, it's the mystical name, a divine name, that we say we are those mystic Ethiopians, all right? Then what does the name Fahami or the name culture implies? The new civilization and salvation of the Kemite, the black race, the worship of Allah or Amun-Ra and our noble ancestors. Fahami means culture and salvation as well as understanding. Fahami is at once civil and religious, ancient and wisdom, ancient and modern, okay? Then our Holy Fahami will enlighten us even more. He said all religions are temperamental because all people are subject to moods and whims. All religions are temperamental because all people are subject to moods and whims, which is hot and cold. Where are they located and where on the planet? And depending on where they are, their religion or their society. The religion of a people is, the society of a people is the religion. How they socialize depends on where they are on the planet, all right? And he say all nations are geographical because, again, being based on those 7 temperament where they are, all nations are geographical because it is a study of the Earth's surface, climate, continent, country, people, industries, products. And that's why all of them think different, eat, drink differently, build differently, wear different kind of clothing based on the 7 temperament as revealed by our Holy Fahmi Rasul. Okay? Fahmi, yes.
Fahmi.
So I pray that gives you a little understanding of what. All right? So we will go with that. I will go to today's lesson, which is finding the soul of the race and sincerity. And I'm glad Amber was here because a few days ago we were texting or something, and as I was typing this, she just texted me a message, and she mentioned the soul of the race. I was like, wow, it's that Fahami spirit, I was doing something and she just mentioned the soul of the race, so we were just smiling about that too. Yeah, so finding the soul of the race and sincerity, okay? The Holy Fahami Gospel tell us to find the soul of the race. In fact, that's one of our missions and our Fahami, to find that soul of the race. It says in chapter 9, to every man his own vine and fig tree, there is room enough on this earth for all. Culture is the soul of the race, a soul of a people, their entire existence and being, from their beginning on up to their end. And the Holy Fahami tells us that a wise angel told me in a vision, you people will have to find your own gods and salam. Our soul is lost and we will have to find it. It is already saved. A race has a soul just as a person has a soul. Our soul is saved, but it is lost to us and we must find it. It is the collective spirit power of the race. Our soul will be found through realization of self. And he put that self in capital letter. So something very important we need to pay attention to. What does it mean? Realization of self. Okay? Then the question is, what is the soul of man? The soul of man is his conscience. So in a way, we have to find our own conscience. As a race, we must find our own conscience. I was talking to a brother one time, and we were just building, and I said, I'm glad you're talking about this, finding the soul of the race. He said, most people sold their soul. I said, wow. I just like, wow, yeah, He said a lot of people sell their soul to get rich, and I think he's talking about some, selling your soul. I said, wow, that's another way to look at it, Then the question is, he said, the soul of man consists of the 7 principles that make up a soul. I think in the previous lecture, I went out deep into what those 7 principles are, but we will definitely bring it in the future, all right? Then he said, this realization of self to revive a mentally and spiritually dead mind back to its original and national imagination, which is self-consciousness, the realization of oneself. So when the Holy Fahami say in this school, in this university, when we say realization of self, we mean to bring a mentally and spiritually dead mind. We are spiritually and dead people as a race. Why? Because we follow a truth that is not our own. We follow the truth of other nations. The Holy Fahami say, the Holy Fahami Rasul say, I think he was quoting the prophet, the blessed prophet Jesus when he said, a man can be died. He said 2 times. It means I think the Jesus was saying, let the dead bury the dead. Yeah, Fahami, thank you. And he said it means 2 things. A mentally dead person is a fool, but a spiritually dead person is one who follows the truth of other nations. So we are people, not only here, but throughout the planet, we follow the truths of the Jewish nation, period. Or the Arabs, but that's something, all right? So, to revive a mentally and spiritually dead mind back to its original and national imagination, that's the key. National imagination, as a nation. The imagination, a collective imagination of the nation. We need to claim that. We need to think about that. Which is, he said, self-consciousness, the realization of oneself. Meaning what? Imagination being the greatest gift from Amen to the gods and goddesses.
I'm doing.
Okay? Then now, you talk about Hollywood. They come up with this so many movies of, just trying to, make these movies. In a way, it's like they're trying to stifle our imagination. Because every time you think about something, you think about their movie. Oh, but it's like that movie you saw, blah, blah, So in a way, they're making this metaphysical, occult movie, trying to get our imagination. So we want imagine your own original, our national and original, your own imagination. But they came up with those movies in a way to stifle our imagination, because you're gonna always think about that movie you saw, or it's like that so-and-so movie, but have your own original imagination of God, of Amen, what Amen looks like, what the God. Use your own imagination. We have to come up with our own imagination, not the imagination of other nations. How you should think when you think about the spiritual, the unseen forces, and all those things, huh? Okay. Then our lesson says, what is the first step toward improvement, which is toward claiming, realizing ourselves. The first step a person makes toward improvement is to become sincere. What? He said the Holy Family Rasul tell us that the first thing we gotta be is we have to be sincere. But what does it mean to be sincere? Then he advises us again. He says, learn to use the power of will and be sincere in your efforts to raise our people above our supposed superiors. Again, he's advising us, be sincere to raise our people above our supposed superiors. How can all this be done? How? Through sincerity and prayer. So what is sincerity in prayer? Through sense in the Holy Fahami revealed for us that he says, through sincerity, the God which is sitting in our conscience. Get in touch with the God of the universe which answers prayers. The angel or the noble ancestor gets the information from God and tell it to your spirit. The spirit thus lifts the body. The God in you guides you around danger and onto your achievement by the permission of the Most High God.
Amen.
So, again, that is through sincerity, the God which is sitting in our conscience, sitting in our soul. Okay? Then the lesson says, can one profit by becoming insincere? No. Only when we become sincere will the Most High God guide us and improve our condition. For the brain of creation is never sick, poor, in need, weak, ignorant, or foolish, and never in bondage or slavery. Right? Yes, sir. So, the question is again, the question I'm going to ask is, what is sincerity then? If it is so important, what is sincerity and how do we cultivate sincerity? How do you cultivate sincerity? In his ultimate wisdom and understanding, our holy Fahami prophet of Amun-Ra revealed to us by saying, our ancient and noble and illustrious ancestors, when they wish to make clear and to propagate the highest virtues in the world, they put their government in proper order. But before they put their government in proper order, they regulated their families. Before regulating their families, they cultivated their own selves. Okay? Then he said, before cultivating their own selves, they perfected their souls. Before perfecting their souls, they became sincere again in their thoughts. Now listen to this now. This is the key. He said, before trying to be sincere in their thoughts, they climbed to the pinnacles of knowledge by investigating and seeing things as they really are. Then he's going to go from bottom to up. He's going to go from up. When knowledge was complete, he said, no. He said, when things were investigated, knowledge became complete. When knowledge was complete, their thought became sincere. When their thoughts were sincere, their soul became perfect. When their soul were perfect, their own self became cultivated. When their selves were cultivated, they regulated their families. When their families were regulated, their states mentally were put in proper order. And when their states mentally were in proper order, the government, the world, it was peaceful and happy. So with that lesson, he told us that the first thing we got to do is we got to investigate. When things were investigated, knowledge became complete. So before you become sincere, we must investigate. We must investigate so knowledge becomes is complete. So what is this Fahmi? I'm going to investigate this Fahmi, and we're going to investigate it. We're going to study. We're going to study. We're going to study. We're going to investigate. Ask question. Why is this? What is this? Why is this? Then after a while, your knowledge about Fahmi is complete. Then he said what? Once knowledge is complete, then your thought becomes sincere. Then you become sincere after that, because you already know. You already did your investigation. All your questions are answered. Then later on, you become sincere. And I thought that was one of the greatest revelation the Holy Fahmi gave to us, which is, how do you become sincere, all right? In order to become sincere, you must investigate, and you must ask, you must study, you must do that. Then after that, we say once our thoughts are sincere, then sincerely we can start finding our conscience or our soul. Okay? Then he said, yes, then our soul become perfect. That's another lecture. What does it mean? Your soul become perfect. Right? Now, what does it mean? Then their own selves become cultivated. Something you got to cultivate is sincerity also. Okay? In that calmness, I know the Holy Family talked about have this calm state of mind. That's something we have to cultivate. No matter what happened, you always calm. You always calm. All right? In fact, one of my teachers was saying how during your prayer and meditation, if the angel or if the God come, say be calm. And offer him a chair, you know? Yeah, but be always calm. So Holy Family says that calm attitude, no matter what happened, you're always at peace, you're always at calm. and you respond from that state. That we all have to. I'm striving for that, and we all striving. We should strive. Then what is this? I'm gonna end up with this lesson, and the signs of sincerity. This is one of my sage, a Kemite by the name of Ra'ana Faraman, that I've been studying with him, and before I even came into the Holy Family. But something he said which goes with our subject is sincerity. He says, sincerity is generated by your willingness to sacrifice the lower part of yourselves, which is your animal nature, and material possessions to assist your race, your fellow man. Your willingness to sacrifice your lower part of yourselves and the animal nature within us and the material possessions to assist your race. It is sincerity that mobilizes the power of the Spirit to bring about true relationship. The ability to psychically connect and thus influence another depends on rapport, which in turn depends on the sincerity of the friendship we offer, we proffer. It is important to realize that sincerity is not just a feeling towards someone, but your readiness to sacrifice for the person, for your race.
I'm there.
And establishing a relationship, sincerity that is expressed through loyalty is the most important factor. Be loyal. Many people cannot understand why they cannot establish a true friendship with someone, even though they think that they have acted properly in all respect with the other person. Correct actions are necessary, but are not the chief agent that overcomes the barriers to relationship and form solidarity. It is sincerity that mobilizes the power of the Spirit to bring about true friendship. And he says most people will fail to grasp this message given the general wrong ideas about sincerity. Most people believe that sincerity is shown in being honest about their innermost feelings and thought, which could very well include feelings of others. Some people say, I'm just being sincere, man. I don't like you, man. Or I don't like that so and so. I'm just sincere, So he was saying that no, that's you are expressing the emotion, which is the lower energy, Sincerity, properly understood, is the expression in one's conduct of divine truth, outwardly and inwardly. Right? So, with that, I will end. I pray I gave you a good understanding. And that's what I called it in finding the soul of the race and sincerity. And if you have any questions, you may ask them. Huh? Any questions? If not, but usually, I know we don't do this, but it's just something. But Wednesdays is our question and answer. So if you have any questions that you want to more in detail, more come on Wednesdays, so we can go deeply into not only me, but we will do collectively, and we can answer each other's questions. All right? With that, family, Basalam Yastrak Banna.
Biasalam, yastarak kaben.